Hi everyone, this is Diane. I have a short time to start working in here today. I'm hoping that I'll be able to do a little bit more later and then patch them together, so we'll have a little bit of a longer video. But my son will be picking me up soon and we're going Christmas shopping. So I'll stop when he gets here. I think I have about a half hour. So I'm going to be doing some work on one particular journal from this collection that I'm doing with sewing patterns. I have not had a chance, a big block of time to do anything else to these covers. All I did was Mod Podge. I cut the cover out of file folder and then Mod Podged images onto the front, and that's all I've done. So I'm hoping maybe, today's Friday when I'm making this, maybe tomorrow, Saturday, I'll have time. And I don't typically like to work on Saturdays. I try not to, but it's just been busy this week, and it hasn't been work busy. It's been, like I had lunch with a friend yesterday for 2.5 hours and then visited my parents, you know, so I haven't been working a lot. So I might take Saturday to work on those covers. Anyway, I'll stop wasting time. I'm going to show you what I have done in here, because the few bits of time that I've had to come in here, I work on them, but I don't do a video. So this is a pocket that I had in my stash. I made it out of file folders not too long ago, just maybe a couple months ago. I did a video of using file folders to make ephemera. So this was a piece of a textured white file folder, and I cut it into a strip and folded it up, put scrapbook paper on the back, and then added these elements from a vintage sewing pattern. And I had this tag tucked in there, so I added this reinforcement, and then I added this digital piece to it. And then behind it, right now, I just have a recipe card tucked. I'll probably put something else back there too. I added this lace, and then I have this strip of a vintage ledger, and this was from the note that Emily wrote. She sent me some full sheets of this really nice vintage ledger paper, but she wrote my note on this, and I cut off the two parts that didn't have her writing on it. I'll keep that part, but I liked this with the numbers down the side. I thought that was really fun, and I think I used the other part in a different part of the journal, or maybe I saved it for a different page. I don't remember. Anyway, this is a digital for hair oil, and this is cut from a vintage sewing pattern. I liked her with the colors of this paper. We have vintage gift wrap here, and all I did was clip on a digital, and this lady cut from a sewing pattern. Isn't she pretty? I love her colors too with this. I added some dry cleaner tickets here and a digital button. And then I printed some pages. This is another digital set from Emily at Polka Dot Pixels. It's 5 pages. She has some sets that are 5 pages. And that's what this was. And I thought it was perfect for this. I knew I wanted to print it, so I went to my computer and printed it. And then I realized that it was Polka Dot Pixels, which is great because I just got that really, really, really nice Happy Mail from her. And I just punched a tab out of some leftover cardstock that I used for a cover for one of these journals, or a cover page, like this page, for one of these journals. Anyway, that's just a tab. I lined these pages with another digital paper, and I don't know what digital shop that came from, but I'll try to find it and link both of those digitals. There's a book page, and I just added some black trim there, and this is a little digital. And here's a vintage sewing pattern envelope. So each journal gets an envelope on the cover and one inside. And I added a vintage millinery flower and leaf to this. You can see the water stain there. And I'll probably have, not probably, I will put a reinforcing strip in the center, or else it will tear out probably. Now I don't remember where this was. I think that goes there. We'll get to that in a minute. I disrupted things. That's a digital perfume bottle. And I used a bingo sheet, glued it to cardstock to make a little pocket. And I added a digital flash card and this digital spool with measuring tape on it and a digital button. And I made this tag on a video, but I sewed around it and then added this little cluster to it. She's cut from a vintage pattern, and this is a digital from Tailor-Made Journals, wallpaper digital. There's a music sheet, there's some stationery, and I'm just clipping her there. And I added this pretty red doily with a punched out flower and a digital button. And this is a digital perfume label. This is a page from a sewing book, a vintage one. Some dyed paper. And then I have this magazine page with some fashionable ladies. And I covered this side of it with this digital from Tailor-Made Journals. I was going to say Lorna Made Journals. Her name is Lorna Taylor. And she's another of my designer friends. So this is embroidery patterns, I think is the name of the digital kit, but it came from a book of French, maybe that's what it is, French embroidery patterns. And then on the back, it's just the bottoms of these long coats. And I put this card on. I made it from an image from a vintage, I think from like the 70s, maybe 60s pattern book. And I tucked this in there. I'm not sure if I'm going to leave it in there, what I'm going to do with it, but I just tucked it in there. But right now, I want to use this to make a little tuck spot here. This is an image from a Spiegel catalog from the 1950s, late 50s. And I glued her to cardstock and cut her out. I'm going to leave the blue behind her. And I cut this out of a little scrap of wallpaper, or wrapping paper. No, scrapbook paper that I thought was really pretty, and it looked nice with this and with her. And I cut it out with a die with my Big Shot. So I'm going to make a little cluster, but I think I want to add, I wanted to add something else, and I found this vintage measuring tape. I don't want to use the part with the metal because this end is going to go behind her, so I don't want to use that. So I'll save 6 inches along with that metal piece. I'm trying to find my fabric scissors, and they're buried. I have so much stuff around because when I don't have a lot of time, I kind of make a bigger mess because I don't bother picking things up while I work. So I think if I put this on here, that would be a fun way to embellish. And maybe a digital button or flower. She's got flowers right there. These little brass buttons are cute. These are digital. I partially cut them, but I wanted to keep them all together. Gotta put that anchor right side up. I think that's enough. So my granddaughter is getting out of school at 11:38 today. I thought that's an odd time. They don't say 11:30 or 11:35. It's 11:38. So my son's going to pick me up, and then we'll pick her up from school. And we're going to go up to Binghamton, New York to go shopping. I don't go that direction very often. So we're going to have lunch at Olive Garden and then do some shopping. I've done most of my Christmas shopping online, but I do like to have at least one day out shopping for the atmosphere of Christmas shopping, I guess. And I do need a few more gifts. Okay, we're looking good. And then we'll have to find something to tuck in there. This came out of something. And I think that's the center of the signature. I'm not sure what I'll do over here. If anything, I might just leave that. I have to find where this came from. Right here. Okay. Now, I may have made a mistake putting this here, because when I want to turn the page, it feels like my fingers go right to that, and it feels like there's another page. So I don't know if I should put a tab on this page, but I don't want to block the pocket. I don't know. I'll figure that out. I have this lady that I cut. Well, she's a digital. So I'm going to just add her to this as a decorative element. Okay, there's that. And here on the other side of this sewing pattern, let me do the reinforcement right now so I know where that's going to be. I think I'll do it on the outside. And I usually just take a scrap of whatever papers I used for the pages and cut a strip, but these are all a little bit thicker, so I don't want to use that. I'm going to just find a scrap that will coordinate, hopefully. And I cut it about 1 inch wide. Here's another one if I need it later. Just put some glue on it. let that dry before I fold it again. So now I do have the full space to decorate because I didn't put that strip on the inside. So I'm just going to make this little pocket. This isn't one of the cut off pieces. It's double-sided, so then I cut it to a pocket, and then I decided it was too tall. So I cut this part off and flipped it over and sewed it together, and now it's a double pocket. And I'm just going to glue it down. Definitely don't want to sew on this vintage sewing pattern envelope because it's fragile. It's a very old one. And then I have this flash card that I decorated with. She was cut from a sewing pattern, and that's just a dry cleaning ticket. A guest check, a playing card, and a little digital perfume label. I didn't fold it yet. You may have noticed that I folded this part in. McCall's patterns are wider because they have the pattern information, the company and the number and size and everything on the side instead of on the top. So I just folded that in, and it reinforces that edge. Okay, that's that. I added this little cutout from a sewing pattern on that. And here I just clipped Monopoly money and some tickets and a digital button card. Actually, I think that's one of mine. I just scanned one of my cards. And I used this Avon clip. And I know the Avon clips, they bend the paper in order to work, but I think it's worth it just to have that really cool Avon clip. And then here I just glued another pattern image onto a library paper, and that's just glued down at the top, and then two of these pink list papers are glued on so you can have some journaling there. And here I used a vintage Snap advertisement. I don't know why there's a pencil and a spool on her hand. But all you need is a pencil, a spool, and something to tap with. Oh, that's to attach the snaps, I guess. Okay, anyway, I just thought it was a really cute advertisement. And I glued that on, put it on cardstock, sewed around it, glued it on, and then I added this little embroidered piece, snippet from a linen, and I made a large tag with this sewing image from a pattern and this digital piece. Well, I'm gonna move on to the next page or the next journal, and I'm probably not done in there, but I'm gonna work on adding some of these elements to here. I think I have one more of these pockets made, but I'll have to make more for the other journals. And I also, I have vintage postcards pulled, so I need to make sure I have a place for that in the journal too. So I wonder if I have that other pocket here. I probably have to wait till I clean up my mess a little bit. I'm going to have to make more anyway. Well, I can at least make some tags. So I think this was cut at, that's 2.5 inches. All right, now this, all I have to do now is find a digital and the reinforcements. And I have some of those made. I liked the rounded one because of the rounded top. But I am prepared to make more, just not on this video. Where are the rounded ones? Oh, there's an empty space here, so I didn't put it away. It's out here somewhere. All right, let's look for a digital button card or some sort of digital. It's a little bit too wide. Might have to use a rickrack. This is a little wide, but it's got a white border, so I can trim that. These look like they're cut off. I don't want to use those. I'll finish these up later. Okay, I'm going to turn off the camera now and watch for my son to come. And I hopefully I'll be back, but if not, I'll just say goodbye and have a creative day. Okay, here I am back from my shopping trip. All I bought was a book for my dad. As far as Christmas presents, we had lunch at Olive Garden. We had fun browsing in stores. It was just a nice outing with my son and my granddaughter. And I tidied up a little bit here and found my little box of those reinforcements I was looking for. And then I glued the button cards onto, their digital button cards onto these tags. So then I will add those reinforcements to that. Now this goes in here somewhere. Let me find its home. We're only gonna spend about 20 minutes. Well, I'm gonna spend 20 minutes in here, and I'll probably have to delete some. But I figured we could get a little more done. Was this in here? I don't remember if that's where that was. All right, so I did one more thing since I got home. I glued this on. This is a vintage, I don't even know what it is. It's from Kresge. It was a sewing notion, and it is a really, really pretty, unusual label. I've never seen one like that. And so I had glued it to cardstock and cut it out, and I just glued it on and put a postcard, antique postcard in there. So I'm going to start doing some of the things in this journal. This pocket here with the folded up, oh, that's where it was. That's where it belongs, in this pocket. So this is going to have to wait till I have more time in here, this pocket. But I have the tags made, and I'll choose some fabric, some lace later. So here I can add a piece of that ledger paper. vintage. Well, it's a digital label. Let me see if I have one in that sort of a shape. I know I have more of these, but I don't have them all pulled out. And I do like that neutral color. So I may have to go back in that ephemera holder and look for another piece. I will select a pattern image and then we'll decide which label goes with it. So it needs to be one of the smaller ones. Looking for an image. I think it's fun to just look at these. That's a doll. I think she's from the same pattern, and part of her, the color of her leg is torn, like it had a little piece of tape across it. But she's the right size. And she's the right size. She's the right size, because I will need one for each journal. And I think the rest will be little girls, because I have two with the little girls on the covers. I'm going to use this. That'll be nice. I like the colors. I like the shape, the size. All right, so first I'm going to glue this down. And then this. And then this. And then I'll tuck a digital button card in there. Okay. This one has a big pocket from an old magazine, but I would put a smaller one on this so I don't cover up that. So let me see what I have. Vintage magazine wise, like that maybe. The Easy Way, new Easy Way makes buttonholes with your own sewing machine. make it on cardstock a little bit whiter than that. And I'll look for a pink or a brown to go with that color. I can make it 3 inches wide. And I'll make this a tuck spot. This was in my stash. I'll just tuck that in there for now. I want something that would look well with that color, the gold and pinks and greens of the wrapping paper. I think I like her the best. I have more cutouts that I can look through later if I want to find something that maybe goes a little bit better. Or I think I wanted something that, see, this one has a full skirt, so she takes up a little more room. And I thought that would be fun. I do like this one. She shows up against the paper better. And another digital button card. These are dry cleaner tickets and a digital button. I'm just going to put a tab on this page. Excuse my reach. To cut some of this off. You have to pull the card out to see her pretty face. Put a book page next with a little piece of trim on the edge. I don't get to use my black trim very often. I should have a ledger page next, but I don't see a ledger page. I must have skipped that when I put this signature together. I don't see one in here, so we'll move on to the next page, which I have as the sewing pattern envelope. I moved things around when I decorated the first one. So I'm going to look for a millinery flower to go there. It's a bag of leaves. This has a scar, a big rip in it. But I want to put this there. I'll patch this up on the inside. And I don't know if I need a leaf. That's a pretty big flower. Yeah, we'll put that one on there. This particular flower I know I bought at a yard sale. It was a hat covered with these. And so I have found quite a few hats and that I could remove flowers from, or even little bags of flowers that were removed from hats. But then I got a lot of them from a wonderful viewer. So this one has the flap at the top. A lot of these older ones had the flap at the bottom, and they were pretty ragged. I'm just going to glue this here, and that will help reinforce the top of the page. And use a piece of this tape that I just got from Emily to patch that. It says M.L. Perkins General Store, Farmington, Maine. There go the millinery flowers. All right, I'm going to stop the video here, but the next thing to do would be to add a reinforcement to the fold so the pages don't come apart, because it's a brittle paper, fragile paper. And then I'll make my double pocket for here, like that. But I think that's it for today. So I'll see you in the next video, and I hope that you are having a creative day. Bye.